Thank you, Krishnan, very much, and good afternoon to all of you. As Krishnan said, my name is Almir Badnjević, and in fact, I'm here in front of the Clinical Engineering Division and IFMBE, which I'm one of the board members there. This is the problem now currently in, let's say, in the whole Europe and probably in the world. First is that more than 2 million of the deaths and injuries of the patients caused by medical device in the last 10 years. That's evidence which we can find out in the MODE database, which is FDA database. So the scope of this project, let's say, and this mission when we started 2014 was to take care about the post-market surveillance of diagnostic and all therapeutical medical devices. Our goal was to implement accredited laboratory, which will later on become notified body and the part of the notified body, for inspection of medical devices and to establish medical measurement traceability chain for accurate and reliable diagnosis and treatments. What will be the benefit? First of all, it's protected patient, accurate and reliable diagnosis and treatments, post-market control of medical devices, decrease of maintenance cost in healthcare institutions, and all of that will be in adjustment with the new medical device regulation, WHO guidelines and metrology, legal metrology rules which are there. This is content of my presentation, and I will pass very quickly through all of those parts. So the first part and the, let's say, motivation, what was motivation in 2014, is that when you, for example, go to the London, and when you do any kind of the check, MRI, blood checks, etc., and then when you go back, for example, in Germany, in Berlin, and when you bring those checks there, they will tell you, you have to repeat it all, because there is no any kind, let's say, confidence, but in fact, when we are talking from metrological part of view, there is no traceability in that measurement. From another point of view, then we said, okay, in all other parts, is there any kind, and does it matter how it's measured? Yes, and then we will find that in weights, the country is involved. Then in gases, pump gases, the country is involved. In radars, when you're driving fast, the country is involved, and the traceability is very important, and they accept it. So when they catch you on the radar, for example, in Germany, trust me, in France, you will get that also, it will come on your address. So they trust in those parts, but they don't trust in another parts. So we saw there. What is also more important, when I bought, for example, 1 kilo of the sugar, and when it's written 1 kilo, for example, in Japan, and when I bring it to USA, everyone accepts it as 1 kilo. But when we have a baby which is born, for example, with 3.5 kilos, and when you said that your baby incubator, while it's incubator, weighed it at 3.5 kilos, when they bring it on another part, in another hospital, they measure it again because they don't trust that it is 3.5. Trust or no, but it's true, because just because it's coming from healthcare and it's coming from the hospital. Very funny situations. Then we look what's happening with the pre-market and post-market regulation, and this is WHO graph, and we can see how many of the countries solve those problems. When you go to the MODE database, also you can check, for example, these are just some of the devices which were interested for us, and you can see, for example, that if we are talking about the very simple infusion and perfuser pumps, that in the last 10 years more than 800 deaths was reported on the FDA mode. You can find it and you can check it. More than 1,300 injuries just from the infusion pumps. So, etc., very similar to all other medical devices. How we started? We started with development. What we recognize in that development part is that we have to take care about 3 different segments. The first one is medical devices, the second one is metrology, and the third one is standardization. From the medical device, of course, the definition from all of those 3 institutions is almost the same. I will not repeat this definition. When we are talking about directives, these 3 directives are in fact still active to all the world. And then they started to talk about something what is called directives of the new approach, and that directives of the new approach in fact gave us in 2017 medical device regulation. Currently, where are we? We are currently here. We are in one transition period, and more than 70% of the European countries still didn't established nothing about the notified bodies. So probably this point here will be moved a little bit here, I'm sure. After that, all of the countries will have established notified bodies, which will take care, in fact, about 3 different segments. Then, another part which is important for us, because everyone, when they want to measure something very accurate and to be sure in that, they are using metrology rules. Why don't use the metrology rules then in the most important part, that's in healthcare? That's while we are establishing our diagnosis and the treatments. So this is about the definition of metrology. I will skip it. I'm sure that all of you knows all about those things. These 3 are, let's say, the 3 main fields of metrology, and we found out that for us, this one, legal metrology, is the most important, and that we can catch up on that part. Why? Because when you have something in the legal metrology, then it's rule. And then it's by the law, so the people must respect that, and everyone, and there is punishment if you are not respecting that. Because I'm coming from my country, we are on the Balkan a little bit different maybe than other people, so only when you push us then, and when you punish us, then we do that. So we said, okay, if we want this work, this must go through the legal metrology, because just if you write something without the punishment on the money, trust me, it will not pass. When we are talking the basic concept of the metrology, there are 3. The first one, uncertainty; second one, traceability and calibration. Only those 3 things are talking already too much in comparison with anything others what was before. Just implementing those 3 things. Because if you have uncertainty, you know exactly where are you with your measurement. If you have traceability, then you can see where are you in comparison with the definitions and everything others. And if you have calibration, it will prove you that you have both of those 2 here. And to combine both of those things, of course, medical devices and metrology, we needed some standards. And then we checked what's happening on the standards in this area. And we found out that there is, of course, ISO, there is International Electrotechnical Commission, there is IEEE standards, etc., etc. Then we go deeper. And then we saw that there are, in fact, 3 different groups: basic safety standards, group safety standards, and product safety standards, when we are talking about the medical device standards. But this is just about the quality, nothing else. About the performance, safety, and other things, they are not talking, in fact, anything about that. Then we go into the OML technical committees, which are under the legal metrology, and to find out what's happening there. And then we found out that these groups stopped working in some 1995, sometimes after that you cannot find even something what is new regarding the medical device. So probably last 30 years they are not doing anything. As solution, when we checked it all, we found out that the solution will be this. So we have, as we started at the beginning, medical device, metrology and standardization. The basics and the most important aspects are safety, performance, accuracy and reliability. How to get performance and accuracy by doing inspection, which is defined on metrology, which is defined by the standard 70020. If we are talking how to perform inspection by having etalons, those etalons must be calibrated with established traceability. How we will establish it? By using 70025 standard. How to get safety? By using 60601. So 3 of those 3, when we have all information about them, we will have also the reliability of medical devices. Later on, we put it will all be the part also of the national bodies. You will see through the next of the presentation slides that all of those parts what we presented are in fact published through different kind of the books, journal articles, etc., etc. Okay, what we have now that each diagnosis which is performed by the medical doctor or the treatment is done by the medical device, which is inspected, which has established traceability through the national body. In fact, this is the Institute of Metrology of our country. They have their connections, their establishing of the calibration, etalons, etc. through the primary standards, which are directly connected with the SI units and with definitions. So each diagnosis and treatment which is performed here, we can find out how far is it from the definitions and from the SI units. This is also one example of the laboratory VERLAB, which is performing in our country, which is appointed by the Government Institute of Metrology, accredited by our Institute of Accreditation, and certified by the, in this case, Bureau Veritas. This is some of the form how the healthcare institutions, in fact, are sending the request. Then the people who are working there, they are checking, are their medical devices the part of the legal metrology device? If they are, they are making contract. After the contract, they are going there and measuring output parameters of all of those medical devices and directly sending measurement to the eVerLab software, which is online platform connected only for our people and the people with the hospitals which are there. And in that software we have all measurement in the last 5 years of 100,000 of different medical devices, etc., etc. And this is the unique database in Europe for sure, and as from information from the people from the ECRI, probably maybe in the world. And so in the last 5 years, we have the measurement from each year to year of all performances in each point of those medical devices. How it looks like? You can connect, you can write your username and password, then when you enter inside, people who are working, of course, in the company, they can check all measurement and other things. People who are, for example, in some kind of the hospital, they have passwords only for their devices. Then you can check per institution, per group of devices, per manufacturer, per device, per planned date, date of verification, was in verification or inspection good, number of certificate, etc., etc. You can check also the numbers there. Then when you open, for example, devices in some kind of the hospital, you can see the numbers of it. Then you can see also all of those points. You can put it in Excel, Word, or whatever kind of document you have. And then additional on that part, on that database, we also open something what we call public available register of verification. So each person can go now to the website of our company and see, is that institution, healthcare institution, where you want to do your diagnosis, treatment, or whatever is there, using verified or not verified devices. If it's expired, if it's working, if it's not working. Because in legal metrology is defined, if you are using device which is not verified or inspected, that device is not good. It's forbidden to use it. So you can go and check if any of those devices, if any of those institutions are not doing in accordance with the law. Some of the results I will pass very quickly just to show you. For example, first, this is showing the number of increase of the number in inspected devices per year from 2015 to 2017. This is the decrease of the average faulty rates in medical devices from year to year. Here you can see at the beginning what was the faulty devices and percentages. For example, the worst was for the incubators for the baby and anesthesia machines, which are very critical devices. It was pretty good, for example, for the dialysis machines, defibrillators, and ECG. This is now for all of them separate. I will skip those things. You can find, as you can see, all that in different articles published here. And this is at the beginning, because always at the beginning, people from the from the Ministry of Health will say, yeah, but it costs. In this case, no. We decrease the cost for the maintenance, and these are the numbers, how much we decrease it in each year. So around 5 million of the KM at the national level in Ministry of Health, it's 2.5 million of the euro we decrease the costs for the healthcare institutions on the maintenance just. And you can see per each device how much we decrease the cost of the maintenance. So there is no any additional or unnecessary maintenance in this case. This is some example. And I want to show you at the end just this current research. What are we doing now? Because we have this database and we have all of those measurements. Of course, there is a book which you can find there which is talking in fact about all of those things. And then because we established this database, we said, okay, what about if we use the machine learning and artificial neural network on this database? What we will get there? And then we said, okay, if we use it, probably we will be able to predict the performance of those medical devices, to plan the service, or even to predict some kind of the failures. And yes, we have done it, and we success in that. And in September of this year, we published one paper which is called Evidence-Based Clinical Engineering, in fact, machine learning algorithms for prediction of defibrillator performances in Elsevier biomedical signal processing and control, with all of those concrete cases and testing, real-time testing, again in healthcare institution. Because we found out that there is a missing standards in this case, we started also at IEEE standards, new series, which is calling P2727, which is in fact standard for general vocabulary for conformity assessment of medical device with measuring function. And later then, we started also with the number 1 device there, which is in fact standard for conformity assessment testing of cardiac defibrillators. And we prepared 20 more other different standards for different medical devices there. And at the end, I will use information, because it's now official that Medicon will be 2022, the next Medicon in Sarajevo, to invite you all there. Thank you very much, and sorry if I missed the time.
For the presentation, a lot of information. I couldn't all follow it, but it was good. Just one question. You started with the number of incidents and risks regarding medical devices and the use of it. You showed that you can decrease the maintenance costs, but did it also decrease the incidents with the use of the device? Because we find that the main incidents are involved in the use of the device and not the failure of the device itself. Yeah. Yeah. We know what was before, and in the last 5 years we know what's happening now. So that's the only data what was before, what I have as a measure of data to compare now. So I have another question, but
you talked about 2 ISO standards. ISO 17020, that is for inspection of the equipment. This is for the inspection body. So they inspect the equipment before it is gone to market, when it is new. Aha. Okay. And then, okay, the ISO 17025 is just to give you the confidence that the equipment is operating within the accepted limits for calibration, which are doing the calibrations, yes. Yeah. Okay. So that I was really keen on the other ones, 17020. Yeah. Thank you.